Well, anyway, the Albany Times-Union reports this morning that Assemblyman Aubertine is indeed going to run.
Indeed running.
Yeah. Now, I
guess
would you don't get it. How do you win that race?
I don't know, because you look.
He's a good candidate, but how do you win it?
Isn't 50% of the vote coming out?
Half the vote comes out of Oswego County.
Oswego.
What Republicans have a huge registration advantage.
This is what I'm trying to do the math on it.
There's some people who are mad because the Barclays wouldn't let them fish on the Salmon River, but those people aren't voters anyway.
Yeah.
The kind of people who, you get a 24-pack of Milwaukee's Best and go down hooking salmon. They aren't voters.
Right.
So I'm not worried about that. I just don't see how Aubertine, and I've tried to run through the permutations in my head and everything. I don't see how he expects to win, although he's popular.
Mm-hmm. Does he have inroads down in that area?
Again, we have been told here at the hotline that he's been down in Oswego County the past couple of weeks attending like Rotary clubs and all of that stuff. And Mr. Barkley has been up in this area, being shepherded around to different clubs and all of that stuff. So, I mean, they're both trying to familiarize themselves with the county they don't represent at the moment. But
I think it's going to be a very interesting race.
I don't think it's I don't think it's going to be like an enormous blowout, but I don't know how a Democrat expects to win that race, especially in a year when the governor's popularity has been flagging a bit.
This is the problem I think that Mr. Aubertine has. If Mr. Spitzer was a bit more popular, that would, no doubt add wind to the sails. But speaking of fishing, I think with all due respect to the Assemblyman, I think he's the salmon swimming upstream at this point. But it's been done.
Salmon metaphors will be.
Would that be appropriate?
The smart political reporters, the ones with journalistic gravitas, if you will be using metaphors like salmon swimming upstream, or to kind of tie into the salmon.
I'm glad to help them out.
Yeah, because a lot of them wouldn't necessarily think of that. But I think it's. I think here's the dilemma. Here's the race as I analyze it with these two.
Okay.
Aubertine, strong candidate, well liked, decent family man, comes across well. He's mature and all of that. Right. A lot of good things.
Well seasoned.
Yeah. And obviously has a constituency up here. On the other hand, people elected him to the Assembly in order to get a voice in the Assembly.
Right.
So now if he moves to the Senate, you lose that voice in Shelley Silver's Assembly. I'm not sure people like that idea. And the other issue that's going to haunt him is, since Albany is run by three men in a room, do we really want all three men living south of Yankee Stadium?
True.
And if Malcolm Smith becomes Senate Majority Leader, that's what it would be. So, if you're just looking at voting for the man, probably on maturity and all of that, maybe Aubertine would have an edge. But when you're looking at voting on party, most people will say, gee, I think we should have a check and balance, a Republican Senate, to check the Speaker and the Governor. Right. And
and that's one of the strong points of Aubertine in the Assembly. Is because he was
I think if I were a Democratic handler, I would try to personalize the race and make it about Darrell. He's lived a North Country life. He's worked with his hands. He's one of us.
Right.
As opposed to
right. Right.
Present the other one as sort of a trust fund child or something like that. That kind of argument. On the other hand, if I were Mr. Barkley, I would present it as listen, I've been in the Assembly. I'm competent. I'm obviously a bright guy, and I want to be part of the majority to provide the needed check against Spitzer and Silver.
Right.
And those are the two arguments that I would expect to be used in this campaign. No, and I'm not like I'm no Liz Benjamin or anything or Fred Dicker, but I can figure this one out.
Right. No, and I think you're absolutely right, and they both are very strong candidates, and that's why I think that it will be a very interesting race. But again, when you go back to the numbers,
when you add up the bodies, it doesn't add up very well for the Democrats.
But we've seen Democrats in the past get a lot of cross-party support. And what's the Independence Party? Obviously we know they're playing a big role in this.
Not really. I don't buy it in these special elections. I think you go in and vote for the name, not a party, and I don't think it's that big a deal. But I don't know what's going to happen there either. I am not in the loop.
Really? You're not in the loop?
Yeah, I'm out of the loop. We got to take a quick call here. Good afternoon. Got to be quick.